Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with another daily cryptocurrency update. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you like what you've seen. Let's get right into the information today, guys. I have a very interesting thread. Some of this information you have heard, but there are some interesting tidbits that honestly I have not seen in a very, very long time, and I feel the majority of the XRP community is unaware of a few of these points. So again, I'll try to remember to address this more. But again, without further ado, let's get into the information. So we got I Am Legion right here, compiled this nice thread for us, and I just want to go through a few key points that really stood out to me. So again, Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, has compared blockchain and cryptocurrency as going from a horse to a car, and there are many different models. And remember, when we rode horses back in the day, obviously you didn't really need too much infrastructure, but with a car you need highways, there's tolls, there's gas stations, there's so many things that come along with that in the infrastructure that's built around to support the ecosystem. The same concept applied not only to the internet and any other technology or any just revolutionary, honestly, just anything we've ever used in society, even beyond technology. Everything needs infrastructure. All right, now Joel Katz, again, this is David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple. He's compared mass adoption in the retail space as trying to launch Twitter or Facebook in 1988. Imagine trying to basically think of the concept or even explain the concept of social media before the internet even existed. People didn't even believe we would ever have these cell phones and watch video and stream. Like, it's the same concept, guys. This is true innovation. This is creating, not consuming. And then right here, let me just read this and then I'll get to some really interesting stuff. So again, this is Joel Katz. This is David Schwartz back in January of 2018. And he does interact. He says he's addicted to Twitter. I know he was active in some subreddits and XRP chats back in the day as well. So right here, Ripple is not targeting XRP at retail use. There are a variety of reasons for this, including the regulatory challenge. But it's also because we, at least some of us, don't think any cryptocurrencies are quite ready for mass adoption through this route yet. And remember, as I've said yesterday, they do not have a bottom-up approach, whereas trying to get Bitcoin for all retailers, thinking that will just overthrow the government and then, replace banks. That's not practical. And the same concept with the internet, it started off with government and university adoption with only really a few points on the network. And the same concept is this. Right now, the Ripple protocol, the XRP ledger, started off with these guys. They gifted it to Ripple, the private organization, and they are working with some of the biggest central banks. And we're talking the top 50 central banks in the world and governments. So right here, just as you probably couldn't have launched anything remotely resembling Twitter or Facebook in 1988, blah, 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 we did pursue a gateway strategy for several years. We had a very hard time onboarding gateways, and an unreliable gateway is probably worse than no gateway. Gateways face challenges with regulatory compliance, customer service, and finding a good revenue model. Part of the problem is interest rates being at a very low level, making it not particularly profitable to hold other people's money. The security problems with interacting with cryptos did not help either. So we pivoted a strategy where we're promoting the XRP ledger primarily as the ultimate store of XRP rather than as a decentralized exchange or DEX. We plan to expand and enhance our product line's XRP integration to provide XRP liquidity and take advantage of XRP liquidity wherever it may be. XRapid, now on-demand liquidity, which uses XRP, is our first big push to connect payments to XRP settlements. No other means, not just atomic swapping, but truly utilizing XRP to settle payments. Now, as we get into the interesting information, hopefully I don't exit out of all of this. Right. Okay, so again, right here, do you really think that Ripple hasn't thought this through? That they have contacted 50 central banks, 50 governments with a half-baked solution? Do you believe that this 1,500 transactions per second is the end game? Do you believe that micropayments are dead due to higher fees? No, guys. We are simply going to continue to scale. There's so many things being built around this. We already know micropayments is one of many things, along with micro-lending. So much, collateralized lending, you name it. But again, Ripple, they are not amateurs. They have some of the brightest people in the world. They know the problems that might occur down the line, and they have the resources to face those challenges. If Ripple wants to change anything, the validators just need to approve it. So changing the fees to 1/100th of the current price should not be a problem if it threatens the micropayments use case. The biggest point missing in this blog is about the price. 99% of people buying XRP are focused on the price. So you can tell me all you want or care about are the technical aspects of XRP. It doesn't really matter to most, just as knowing about, TCP or, HTTP and TCP IP. So again, matter to 90% of the population right here. Where is the money going to come from? And this is what I want to emphasize, guys. Everybody always asks, and there's a few things, and I know Michael Zischek argues based on, some polls as well, that banks, if there was, a massive payout, and this is some hype, so stay level-headed, guys. Anything's possible, but you have to speculate with investing. So I want to discuss this in the open. You guys can say this is BS, this is not practical, you're hoping for way too much. That's fine. But again, I'm ready for slow and steady, and I'm ready for an instantaneous, multiple jumps. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying XRP is undervalued, whether that's $1 or 3 digits, 4 digits. I don't care. I have my exit plan laid out. So right here, where is the money going to come from? I know that, if there was a payout, banks could, see an ROI within 2 years based on some metrics. And again, as a business, that is, an awesome, awesome no-brainer in my opinion, compared to 5 or 10 years even. So right here, companies and banks stockpile XRP, the Nostro Vostro accounts, the stock and housing market crash, and then utility. So right here, this is David Schwartz. This is not just some guy on YouTube or Twitter. This is real, actual documented information out there. So again, this is a way that solves chicken and egg problem. Next, we hang more assets off the corridor we already built in the corridor, meaning the currency pairs. So for example, let's say the euro and the Indonesian, the rupee? We'll say rupee. And we already built. So then companies that have to make lots of payments into various destinations in those corridors will find they can save money by holding XRP. Then traders will want to hold XRP. They're further incentivized to hold XRP because that's the asset anyone paying into these hard to reach corridors needs, and so on. Wherever liquidity pops up, payments will settle through that liquidity, guys. So you see how the demand and the utility of XRP will actually further drive further speculation and so on. And then as there's more speculation from you and I and traders and different people and banks and corporates that want to stockpile the XRP because they'll actually use it, what's going to happen is that's going to make the spreads tighter on the order books, and it'll make on-demand liquidity that much cheaper for settling payments. So even in those common efficient corridors like the US dollar and the euro that are already efficient, XRP will actually be able to become more efficient hypothetically, instead of just targeting the hard to reach areas and fixing those inefficiencies. It'll make even the efficient corridors become, they'll look inefficient compared to what we have the ability to do now with XRP. Right here. So again, David Schwartz, here's how I've been explaining it recently. There's a business that Ripple has been providing transaction processing software to banks. It can work without XRP and without any blockchain technology. It improves international payments because it uses end-to-end messaging to track payment progress, ensures all necessary compliance information is in the transaction in the first place, precisely knows the fees ahead of time, and provides prompt, reliable confirmation of delivery. This is a big enough improvement that banks will use it even if the actual money moves the same way it does now. So that's similar to, with XV and Xcurrent as well, okay, or even Swift GPI. It does not actually improve the settlement, but it does not free that dormant capital. Number 2, Ripple has built a public blockchain with a native asset. It has various nice features: a distributed exchange, good governance, fast transactions, high transaction volume, native multi-sign, key rotation, payment channels, etc. Now 3, the hard part about getting banks to use a blockchain is not the blockchain itself. It's everything else. It's the governance, compliance, integration with banking systems, and so on. However, our software, RippleNet, does all of that stuff. So if routing a payment through XRP is even 1 penny cheaper, the bank can take it. Then we have to make XRP cheaper somewhere that matters. And as I've already discussed right here, we do not target the biggest corridors first, like the US dollar and the euro, because they're already efficient. We target an inefficient but fairly high volume corridor. For example, the euro and Indonesia, is this the rupee, I believe? The India rupee, I'm sorry. Let me just check. I had it up because I always confuse the rupiah with the rupee. Yep, Indian rupee. Excuse me, guys. So right here, the Indian rupee. So market makers have very small profit margins. So even a small incentive to place good euro to XRP and then XRP to the Indian rupee offers can beat what the banks are getting now through the correspondent banking system. Remember with the volatility per our discussion yesterday, the correspondent banking network, someone is taking that settlement risk. So the price is already, put in to that spread. So right here, 5, once we get one corridor, we hang other countries off each end of the corridor, expanding the reach of XRP. So it just keeps going in all directions and branching off to various corridors from that base pair. 6. Now, say you're a company like Seagate that pays out money all over the globe. If you have to make payments to 5 countries in our corridors, you'd rather hold 1 pile of XRP than 5 piles of different currencies. That increases demand. So say you're a country that goes to the Indian rupee, to the rupiah, to the euro, to the dollar, to the Japanese yen, like you name it. Wouldn't it make sense just to hold a giant amount of XRP, or at least a good enough amount of XRP that can settle those payments for you so you don't have to have all these pre-funded accounts in various positions? Because, of course, it comes with inflation, capital costs, you get it. So 7, now say your company like Apple with a huge pile of cash, and you want to snap up other assets cheap. Yes, snatch up. You'll need to hold the asset the people selling want. If they're going in any of our corridors, they will want XRP, so you would also want to hold it. If that succeeds, it could, and he's just being conservative here because he can't really speculate on price too much as the CTO, that'd be irresponsible, it could increase the price of XRP. 9, Ripple holds a huge pile of XRP, and it'll be the dominant, and I don't know, they're blocking this with this emoji, the dominant XRP holder for the foreseeable future, will be. But we're primarily VC financed, and we get revenue from selling software to banks. We don't use our XRP as a bank account, but as a strategic weapon. Though we do sell some for revenue, we just don't need to for salaries or to keep the lights on. And then right here, 10. Anyone who gets XRP from us as part of some deal with a lockup has their incentives aligned with ours. They want the long-term price of XRP to go up too. Keep in mind, long-term. This is in their best interest. They do not want it 20 cents, $1. They want it as high as possible because it'll allow payments to be cheaper, and it goes along with their actual mission. So I think that pretty much covers our vision. There is, of course, no guarantee of success, just like anything, just like any investment. That is where the risk lies. In my opinion, it is truly all or nothing based on the developments, guys. I've never been more bullish long term when we go into production. Now, true production when we scale. So this is a pretty crazy thing we're trying to do, but we have 160 full-time employees at the time of writing this and have raised tens of millions of dollars. We've hired many amazing people, and our track record speaks for itself. All right, and then right here, lastly, I Am Legion just showing this, and they're saying, what's the use case for XRP to actual moon? And again, David Schwartz, to sum it up, as we've already talked about in that thread, XRP becomes the dominant settlement currency. New corporates stockpile it for cheap, faster payments because they don't need to hold a bunch of different Nostro Vostro accounts everywhere all around the globe. All right. And then again, that attracts traders as well. And then eventually that speculative bull run as well makes payments more cheaper, and it would allow them to potentially scale even faster during these speculative bull runs. All right. And then just discussion about IMF and some video about ILP and Coil as well. So I found that very, very interesting. Next up, Stephen Bull from the DIP. Basically, this is just on the block show. Again, Cointelegraph, some sponsors here. And they're just a few key points. Again, we know by 2020, they're talking about Singapore. And they actually say this verbatim. They just say, don't lose hope with any money invested. And I think they were just kind of catering to businesses as well, and saying that 2020 will be the year of true production of blockchain application. So again, looking forward to that. I mean, we obviously know that as well. I just want to know what this encompasses and entails. All right, next up, Crypto King tagged me in this. So we got Ben Melnicki of Ripple becomes co-chair of Blockchain Association. So this is just another example, guys, another Ripple individual working closely with regulators. So currently the America's head of regulatory affairs at Ripple is set to join the Blockchain Association as co-chair. And Melnicki joined Ripple back in October of 2019 recently. And now he's looking forward to working with Blockchain Association. Association and its members to provide a regulatory clarity on this critical issue for the industry and market participants. And then lastly, right here, Ripple's milestones. So again, guys, we have, great people from all over, obviously, and we've headhunted from Google, Apple, everyone, like IBM, just huge players that really know what they're doing. But again, lately, Ripple has been making milestones, as evidenced by other companies joining its network. Recently, Mercury FX, a multinational payment specialist, joined the RippleNet in a bid to speed up transfers, lower costs, and open new markets that were previously inaccessible due to higher charges. And Mercury FX, I believe, was one of the first 3 groups to actually go live utilizing XRP last October. And initially, the company targeted corporations and high-value individuals. However, due to lengthy processing time and high cost of using the existing cross-border settlement, implied that they could only transfer large sums of money in order to remain profitable. To conquer these limitations, Mercury FX decided to explore new approaches to global payments, leading to its association with RippleNet. All right, guys, hopefully that wasn't too long and dragged out. I really just wanted to emphasize what I saw with I Am Legion tagging this, and the best thread right here, in my opinion, was right here. 90% of the population, we care about the price. We care about getting a good, solid return on our investment, ideally generational wealth. Guys, keep your feet on the ground. Keep an eye on the markets, of course, but we have to look longer term. You cannot just look at short temporary price movements. I'm looking at the fundamentals, and this would be the scenario that we see in so-called mass adoption, even if that only entails 10%, 20%, 50% of the SWIFT network. The more it does, the more likely it would get all or nothing. So again, guys, let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you in the next video.